This is Doom Legacy. Now, I know what you might be thinking. This doesn't look that impressive. And you may be right. Nowadays, we've been spoiled greatly by some of the source ports I mentioned in my previous videos, so why go back and look at this one? Well, I always wanted to make a video about this one, because it has left quite a mark on the history of source ports. A mark I wasn't able to cover in the previous videos, because I couldn't run the darn thing until now. Before I begin, I should mention that Doom Legacy is probably one of my earliest experiences with source ports, excluding Doom 95 of course, which is a different subject in its own right, and I recommend you watch this video about it. This was the cool port of the early 2000s. If you went into your middle school computer lab with a hastily burnt CD featuring the Doom iWads, as well as a copy of a source port like Doom Legacy slapped on top of it, you were the cool kid. Everyone wanted to play split screen with you. But that's another story. Let's get back to talking about Doom Legacy. Doom Legacy began development as early as 1997, shortly after the release of the source code. It was initially developed by Boris Pereira and Dennis Fabrice, and the first version was officially released in February of 1998. One of the things that made it stand out for the rest was that it was one of the first hardware-accelerated ports, and it introduced things that we take for granted nowadays, such as better SVGA support, translucency on sprites and even walls, free look with the mouse, better multiplayer, and even jumping. As I mentioned before, it even integrated split screen too. But since I have no friends, I can't show any footage of that. Anyways, later versions integrated SDL as the graphics interface as well. An OpenGL renderer was added into the port by Thierry van Elsewij, also known as Hurdler. Its console was unique too, in that it was taken directly from a leaked version of Quake before the source code for that game was even officially released under the GPL. Time went on and things were looking up for Doom Legacy. New features were being introduced with each update. In 2000, the programmer Stephen McGranahan introduced support for Heretic and Hexen, as well as boom compatibility. Some versions even introduced some novel features like 3D floors and even deep water with its own fancy graphics. However, with all the new implementation of features, Doom Legacy became less stable and less compatible with each release. Eventually, Boris and Dennis left the project, which left Hurdler as the lead programmer of Doom Legacy. While the source port currently doesn't get anywhere as much clout as it used to, it's still chugging along in development till this very day. Heck, the latest official release was last year even, and it even boasts MBF support now. Someone give me a heads up if it can run Eternity. Anyways, the features implemented into it during its early years of development have been an inspiration of developers, and its reputation nowadays varies from person to person. It still has the split screen integration going for it though, something other source ports tend to neglect. I should also mention that Doom Legacy was the base source port for Sonic Roboblast 2. I think some of you are aware of that mod's existence, and it's still quite a spectacle to behold. It has some signs that it's based off of Doom Legacy, like some of the menus and even the effects that it managed to retain from Legacy's older versions. It's been in development for over 2 decades at this point, and also shows no signs of stopping. Kudos to both the developers of SRB2 and Doom Legacy. That's all I have for you guys. There's probably a lot more intricacies of Doom Legacy and SRB2 that I missed out on, but I wanted to make this video a bit brief. Anyways, if you like this video, thumb it up, and if you want, you can support me with a coffee in the description. Never necessary, but always appreciated. Thanks for watching, and until next time, toodaloo.